We do that through the AR Create and Send file application. And first off, as we mentioned in the slides, to designate an invoice for EFT is simply a matter of coding its terms code with the EFT terms code. Now that process can be done in invoice and memo entry, or it can be done right here from this screen as you're about to transmit the files. So what we have are some batches here. These are unposted batches to the general ledger. I'm going to go and show posted batches, and I'm going to focus in on this batch here, this batch 121. Now this particular batch shows that the batch total is a little over $250,000, and it's got an EFT total of $1,813.82, and there's one invoice in this batch that's coded for EFT. So as you can see, part of a normal Solomon invoice batch can be paid through EFT, and the remaining invoices would be printed and sent to your customer. From this screen, we can drill right down to that batch and take a look at the details. There also is another screen in the product that allows to have the same functionality, but you can separate by user rights those that can create and send the file versus those personnel that can code those invoices for EFT. So let's take a look at that batch, go down to Select Invoices, and here we see the details for that batch. We see that there are two invoices or memos in the batch. We see that both of these customers are EFT eligible, and the reason they're eligible is because we set them up as a customer in EFT. If they weren't set up, this would say no, and then they wouldn't be eligible. The document terms, this is that part that we were talking about, is now been coded for EFT. We've set up a terms code called EF that says EFT, paid via EFT, and so this particular invoice was coded that way in invoice and memo entry when the document was first created. However, on this one we didn't create it at that point, but we now right here are going to select it. We're going to select the new terms code, and then it's going to indicate that it will be paid via EFT. It's going to take the full balance and make that the EFT amount. So now from this screen we close and exit, and now this invoice will be marked for EFT payment. It's that simple to code documents for EFT, either from invoice and memo entry, or right here clicking off those and setting the new terms code and designate them as EFT. So we're going to save and exit. Now we can see that this has been updated to say there are two EFT invoices for a total dollar amount of this much. The next final step actually then to process this AR EFT is simply to select the batch. We're going to send batches only, not prenotes. And when I click Begin Processing, it's going to check for errors to make sure that everything is correct in the file. It's going to create the ACH file. It's going to launch our communication session, whatever that might be, and in this case it will be going out to the SandlerCon website, and then we would upload the file. So let's go through that process. An audit report is also printed as part of this process, so we have a complete match, and so we can tie the audit report to this total amount selected, and we can do one last verification before we transmit to the bank. So here's the web-based interface. This would be to your bank. At this point we would upload the EFT file. We close, and now the keep process for that file that's transmitted. A number of things actually happen here if we keep. If we delete, it meant that we didn't transfer the file successfully and we need to do it again, something or the bank, we couldn't connect to the bank or whatever. When we do the keep process, number one, we're going to create a payment application batch. It's going to automatically create the payment application and apply those EFT payments against those invoices automatically. We've got it set up. It says batch handling is on hold. That's a module setup option, so then you would go into AR and release the batch. The other thing it will do is go through and do email notifications, payment advices to those customers saying that money has been removed from their account. And the final thing, if we're archiving, that ACH file would be archived. Actually, before we go and do that final process, let's take a look at the file itself. We've set it up to store it under our eBanking folder, sample files, AR EFT, and here it is right here. And this is the file to Denise Smith and Eric Rothenberg, and this is the ACH file that would remove the money from their accounts and deposit it into ours. Alright, so let's close that up, and we'll do this final process of keeping. It's going through, creating the payment application batch, sending the email, and that quickly those transactions were just processed. It said that it gives you a final email status. Remember, only one of those folks was going to get emails. One was sent and 0 failed. So that all looks good. And then also it stamped this batch with a completed status. Let me quickly take a look at the event log viewer. And here we should see an event log of those emails. And you can see here it gives us a documentation of the email that was sent to Eric Rothenberg, actually alias Tim Kahn, to Hotmail. And now I've just gotten a message from MSN Messenger that my email was received. So let's go out and take a look at that. And we'll take a look at what that email looks like. So here we are. So we're going to refresh the page. And here we have it today on the 26th, the EFT payment to SandlerCon software from the customer. And as you notice, of course, we didn't send it to a bank, so nothing really happened. This is kind of faked it out. So the subject line is totally configurable by the user. The following payment has been deducted from your account on file. If you have any questions, please contact our accounts receivable. This piece at the top is completely defined by you. You can put whatever text you want. The middle section comes out of the software. It tells you the payment number, amount of the EFT, gives the invoice that we're paying against, the invoice date, amount paid, discount taken, and then there's a footing section again that you can completely configure to match your requirements. So that pretty well wraps it up for AR EFT. Again, to review, we set up some customers for EFT. Then we went out and took a look at outstanding invoice batches and coded them either in invoice and memo entry or on the fly, just as before we sent the EFT. Then we began processing, sent the file, sent it to the bank. Then at the end, the payment application batch was done automatically, and emails were sent to the customer. Let's take a moment to talk about implementing AR EFT. The product is available for Solomon 4.5, Solomon 5.0, and 5.5, and of course will be available on future versions, Solomon 6.0 and beyond. The product is installed and any initial training is done by your local reseller. Your local reseller knows your Solomon environment better than we do, and therefore they're the ones that would be responsible for that part of the implementation. In terms of setting up AR EFT, some information needs to be gained from your bank. There's things in the ACH file such as immediate destination, immediate origin, and those kinds of things, and so you need to make contact with your ACH department at your bank. This installation then is done over a few days, even though the installation actually only takes a few hours, and your reseller can certainly advise you as to the more exact amount of time. But since you have to get information from your bank, there's a back and forth process with your bank, and that may take some calendar days. Your first point of contact for support with your product is your local reseller. As it is for all of your Solomon applications. However, SandlerCon is definitely available for direct post-implementation support, always available at any time, both for the reseller and for the end user. Let's take a look at how we purchase and the pricing for the product. SandlerCon software only sells their products through the Microsoft Solomon reseller channel. So this product, along with others in the eBanking suite and all of our products, are purchased through your local reseller. The price is based on a couple of things. One is the Solomon Edition, and that refers to whether it's a Premier or Select Edition or Professional or Standard, and based on the Solomon licensed user count. This is not necessarily the number of users that would be using AR EFT, but it refers to your Solomon licensed user count, the number of user packs you have purchased for your overall Solomon system. SandlerCon always provides multi-module discounts if they're placed on the same order. So if you're purchasing any of the other modules along with AR EFT, any of the other eBanking modules, or our resource planning and estimating or project work order project series products or shop floor control manufacturing, if you do any of those in combination, you can gain up to a 20% discount if they're placed on the same order. 18% of the list price is added to the order for maintenance and support. That allows for that direct contact with SandlerCon and any ongoing upgrades or maintenance over the years to keep your product current with the current Solomon version. Please contact your local Solomon reseller for more information on this product, or you're certainly welcome to contact us directly at www.sksoft.com. Thank you very much.